Welcome to today's live painting session. Happy Dasara and Vijayadashmi to all. If you have received my email and been able to check it after having all those sweets of Dasara, then you might have seen that how I painted this uh, grayscale version or a value study based on this sketch. And now it's time to paint the colored version. And as I mentioned in the email, I will be using ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, then gamboge, crimson, and white to paint this painting. So let's get started with the painting. So let me hide my camera or make it, let's see how we can make it small. Yeah. Let's see, let's try this type of setup, and if you don't like it, let me know, because this is kind of squeezing the uh, scene a bit. My video of the desk is appearing small, but you can let me know if you would prefer this or would prefer the larger version. So let's get started. Let me start first by drawing it out. I think there's no point in wasting the room, so let me make this video large. Yeah, got the color on my hand. So let's start by drawing the external boundary, and let's paint or draw the rectangle within this, square within this. And let me quickly draw the value sketch here, or the sketch here, not the value, just the outlines. I want to keep the horizon very low, probably this much only, and this would be the bunch of trees or small bushes which are here, and they're casting a shadow like this. And the larger trees would be here, and maybe a few bushes here in the long distance, in the distance there. And the mountain would be here somewhere, and the clouds and the blue sky. Okay, so that's the drawing part. Now let me get started with the painting. By the way, I'm using just the watercolors here. All these are watercolors. Just the additional thing what I'm using is gouache white. You could also use poster white if you don't have gouache white available. Okay, so let me start by painting the dark shapes first by making a green. So for making a green, I am mixing this blue and yellow. Let me take out some of these colors so that it's easier to make the colors. Where is the yellow? Excuse me. Yeah. And you don't, if you don't happen to have the exact same colors that I'm using, don't worry, use similar color, whatever similar colors you have. You just need one black, one yellow, uh, a red of course, and brown if you have it. Otherwise you can even create a brown. I'm adding a bit of red to this to make it dark green. And now let's start painting this. And it will be darker for these trees, slightly darker. And the thing about landscapes is that, or the at least the way I paint, is I don't like to be too descriptive about the paint, about the shapes in the painting. I'm okay if I am able to only suggest and not worry too much about whether it exactly looks like that shape or not. So at least that's what my style is. If you prefer more detailed way of painting, you are more than welcome to paint that way. Okay, now let me get this dark color even here. Are you able to hear me properly? Just whoever is watching, can you please say all okay, video and audio wise? Because I didn't go and check it today on the YouTube channel or Facebook. So wherever you are watching this, just let me know if you are able to hear me and see my video properly. In the video, this looks too dark. Let me see if I can increase the light a bit. And no, it's not working that way. Anyway, let me zoom in and see if you can see things more clearly. Yeah, but let's see. If I do this, then you won't be able to see my palette. So I will zoom back out. I think that's a middle ground. Okay, now let's paint the big shape of this mountain. So for that, I will again start with the blue, add a lot of white, and some crimson. And by the way, yes, when I added red to this green to make it dark green, I did not add crimson. I added vermilion, and so that's, you can note down that as an additional color. Generally, I would suggest that you have a palette which has most of these colors available to you when you start painting. You can simply wash these out, mixing areas, and keep the palette closed so that you don't have to hunt for colors when you need them. they'll be always available for you. So some more white, and let's see what is the value. I think I can make it a bit more reddish and lighter. And let's go with this. Let's see what happens. If needed, we can always change it. And I also want to make a slight variation in the color towards the bottom of the mountain. But let me first get this big shape. When I'm applying this color, I'm also giving shape to these trees by redefining their outline whenever I need it. And as I come down towards the base of the mountain, I'll slightly more make it more bluish, and actually even some red. But I want to also make it slightly darker. Yeah, that should be good, I guess. And instead of having this line perfectly horizontal the way it is in the value sketch, I want to make it slightly tilted, and then I can use this same color to make suggest these valleys in the mountain surface. Here I added this dark color where it's not needed. It should be light here at the top. So let me restate that. Yeah. Now let's come to the foreground. The foreground, I want to show it greenish, as if there is some grass growing on the ground there. So what I've done is I've added some yellow to this green which I had made for this, and I'll be also adding some white to make it lighter, and a bit of brown burnt sienna. And let's apply this here because I want the shadow of this tree to appear clean on that. So it's necessary to have ground which is light in value. And as I come towards the base, I will add more brown and green, which will make it dark. Now let's paint this. This will be more of a, I'll use a smaller brush for this. I'll use a brown color, brown dominating color. So burnt sienna to this earlier mix so that it becomes and some more blue. So I get this dark color which is not green. So this is supposed to be some, I'll add some white to it to give it thickness. I think that is enough, and just make this edge slightly more blurred with a dry brush. And now let's allow this to dry and come to the sky. So for the sky, let's start by painting the blue area of the mountain of the sky. I don't want this to be too similar to the color of the mountain, so I've added more white to make it lighter. I think I can go with that, at least for now. And I'll paint the area where we can see the blue sky. And I will add more white to it and paint it here also. Maybe a tinge of crimson, not much. It's barely visible, but it's there. It's not same as this blue. And let's take more of this white and paint this cloud also. So it's not completely white. It has some reflections of the blueness in it. I'm taking the white directly from the palette, not mixing it anywhere. Let's run this finger over it to make it. As the light is coming in from this side, I can see that in the video, this portion is completely overexposed. It's like this when I hold my hand like this on the shadow. Yeah, this is how it is. But if I do this, then the whole thing is getting underexposed. So let's keep it at this. Yeah, this looks better. So now we have the sky, we have the clouds. and most of the area or every part of the painting has been covered. Now let's get into the details phase of this painting. So for that, let's see from where to begin. I will start from these trees. So I'll select a smaller brush now, and I need a lighter green. So I'll start with this yellow, add a bit of green to it or a blue to it to make it green, and I'll add more yellow to it. And let's start painting these highlights on these trees. And once I apply this brush stroke, I'm not touching it again, not trying to adjust it. That's one of the common mistakes which beginners do, which makes the painting not so interesting to look at. Yeah. Now let's use this same thing here also. But here the brush strokes will be different. This is not a coniferous tree. This is a conifer. If my knowledge about this trees is correct. Now I need a darker version of this green, which I will use to make paint some details on the other side. Some red to make this dark. One thing you should notice is how the color of leaves changes with the altitude. You next time when you go to high altitude place, just make sure that you note the color of the leaves if you are living right now in low altitude areas. If you live in high altitude areas, then the trees around you must be dark anyway right now. So when you come down to more of areas which are closer to the sea level, you will see that the trees become much more vibrant green instead of dark green. I don't know the biological reason for this, but then that's how they change their green color. So just by looking at the color of the trees, you should be able to suggest the altitude of the place. Interesting, isn't it? And these two trees look very neat and arranged. So I need another one somewhere here, which is slightly more natural or organic or whatever that word is. Maybe there is some other tree growing here which is not like these, but then there is a variety which you can see now, and I like that. Now let's paint. Since the ground is also green, the shadow also will be a dark green. So let's paint the shadow of these trees. And maybe there is some tree on this side which we don't see in the painting, but then it's also casting its shadow here. So this is a compositional tool in which I'm making sure that the viewer's attention doesn't go out from here. So I'm adding a shadow shape here, which makes sure that the viewer doesn't, or the viewer's attention doesn't go out from here and stays within the painting. Now I wanted this ground color somewhere here to kind of fine tune the shape here. It'll be much more bluish because of the distance. Yeah, that's a nice color for the distance. And as we come closer, it becomes much more yellowish. And it's time to make the ground more lighter. And I still want this area to be darker in value as compared to this, because that is also another way of stopping the viewer's attention from going out from here. Now I need to refine this shape, so I will modify it here itself. I need a brown which is dark, and I want to soften the edge. Maybe there are some rocks on the ground here. Let me show you the painting with more light. Uh, the light is shining on it, so you won't see it properly. And then the white gets too much overexposed. Okay, anyway, let's continue. And I think this tree needs some details, at least on the outskirts, on the edge here. It's enough. What else? I need some trees back here which are more bluish than greenish, because of the distance. So let's see how this color looks. This is too light, so I need, instead of crimson, I'm putting in some vermilion to make it dark. Yeah, that's a good color for this distance. I'm suggesting a few trees in the distance. That should do the job. So this is like a pathway going towards the base of the mountain, which is always a nice thing. If you are able to make the viewer travel inside your landscape, that's the best thing you can do. That's the way the viewer gets more involved in the painting, and so he or she stays more time with your painting, because that's the ultimate intention of the artist. Make the viewer look at the painting for more time. That's too sharp a difference. This looks good. Now the thing which I want to do is make the sky dark here a bit, because it looks very flat, doesn't create that dome effect. So I'm taking in some blue, add white to it, and let's see how this looks. Yes, this is good enough. Now I'm almost making sure that brush is dry, it doesn't have any color on it, and then dragging this color over this. I'll take more, some white, mix it in, and apply it here, because I want the transition to be smooth. It's sky, so that green of the tree is causing problem. And I can go a bit more dark here. Maybe a sky hole here and there. That's enough, I guess, to show that it's not a solid object, but it's a tree which has leaves and things, which is hollow inside. Now let me look at it for a while. I need to know, or I want to find out, if is there anything remaining to be painted, anything which can make the painting a bit better. So let me add tinge of this here. Otherwise, the sky was looking too flat. Nothing was happening in it. Just suggesting some shadow area on the cloud because the light is coming in from here. Very, very light use of this color. Almost dry. And I think that's it. Let's see. Let me think about it for a minute. Till that time, I will make the border again, and let's see if this needs anything. I think here there should be something which is kind of breaking this straight line because it looks too neat and manicured. This is not a tree from botanical garden, so it can't be so neat and tidy. I will add a small branch or a two just here. Yeah, that is nice. And I'm purposely keeping this yellow more bright than this because this is the focal area. Adding some of it again. The top of the tree receives more light, so the brightest bright would be at the top of the tree. And I think this mountain is also looking a bit too nice. There is no variation in it. So I'm taking a bit of brown and let's see if adding this makes it slightly more appealing. Yes. But I want to add it very cautiously because the mountain was looking too blue. Yeah, now this looks more better, I guess. And let me make the right hand side a bit more dark, because that also will make the bright side brighter. And I don't want any hard edges here because it's too far to show any hard edges. So I'm just softening wherever it's needed. I think that this looks good now. I think I can stop here and not keep fiddling with it. So I hope you liked this. And if you have been only watching this, I hope you will attempt to paint this yourself, because that is where the learning will happen for you. First watch and then paint, or paint while you're watching. Both are good. You can rewatch if you want to paint and pause the video and paint along with me. So if you are watching this as a recording, you can of course do that. Those who are watching this as a live video also can come back to this video later and watch it again. And I also want to again state that if you are watching me on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, then please hit that red button, subscribe button, and press the bell icon so that you get notification about new videos. And also like this video and comment if you have liked this video, what you've seen in this painting that we did. So and if you are on Facebook also, if you haven't followed my page, now is a good time to do that. And you can see that I want to add few comments here before we close for today. Is you can see how the painting has progressed from this sketch to the value study. This value study video is already on YouTube. You can go and watch that. And then you look at this painting. Here the mountain is very flat shape, but that's how the value studies are meant to be. This only gives us the value structure, what is dark, what is light, what is in between. And here you can see all the details with the colors. So if you go in your own paintings also, if you go from making a sketch, then a value study, and then a colored version, you will see a lot of improvement, because a lot of problems get solved here itself. And when you are at the painting stage, there is nothing much to be explored. And what happens is that your painting turns out much better than what it would have if you had not done this groundwork. So I hope you enjoyed this, and you will paint this yourself so that you get more value from it. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you and bye. Happy painting.